Hi, welcome to my channel Mostly Knitting. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new here, I'm Tash, and this is a weekly podcast where I talk mostly about the knitting that I've been doing during the week, and I also put out regular tutorials. So I'm recording on Sunday the 14th of July in Sydney, Australia. I normally start with my finished objects. I don't actually have any finished objects this week, but I do have 2 new works in progress, and I also have a friend from the vault and quite a bit of progress on my other works in progress. So I'm going to get started actually with friend from the vault, and I am wearing it at the moment. And this is, it's going to be hard for me to say it, Tsumuzikaze by Michiyo, and I use the Fibre Company Meadow, which is a really nice sort of light fingering yarn. It's a blend of wool and linen, and so it has kind of a heathered look because the linen doesn't take up the dye quite like the wool does. So yeah, it's a really unusual kind of pattern. It's a top, it's a short sleeve top, almost sleeveless, but because it's quite wide, it sort of looks like you've got little sleeves. It's got this really lovely detail down the sides. And it is asymmetric, so it's got like a, this side sits higher than this side, and you can wear it either way. So you can wear it where I don't know if it matters or not, but you can wear it sort of where this side's higher, or turn it around and this side's higher. So it's got quite, you have to be a bit careful with, or at least I do, with how I wear it, because it's got these really open sort of arm. So I'm just wearing like a little, camisole underneath, so it doesn't, you don't see this big, you don't see my bra or a big patch of bare skin. And it's got sort of, like a straight across boat neck style. It is kind of awkward, like because of the sleeves, it's awkward to wear like a jacket over it. So I tend to wear it when it's not too cold out. I mean, I can put a jacket on it, or I could put like a shawl or something. But yeah, it's a bit awkward if you wanted to wear a coat or something. Yeah, so I used 1.5 skeins. I don't know that I would have even thought about making this pattern, except that I was at my local yarn store and they had one, like I think they actually had a few of from this designer, and I tried it on and it was in a different color. It was in like a really pretty blue, and I really, really liked it. So that kind of sold me on it. So I like that idea of yarn stores having sort of some things that you can try on in the store. So I definitely need the smallest size, and I think in the store they had one size up, so maybe this is the XS, and I tried on the S and it was fine, but I thought, oh, it's just a little bit big, so I could go one size down. So yeah, so I really like it. It's nice. It's a bit of a sort of a statement piece. I usually wear it with like with black jeans and boots, so it's got that kind of I don't know, it's a look, but I like it. And yeah, I don't wear it wear it reasonably often. Yeah, just it's got to be, temperature has to be right though, because because it is a little bit awkward for wearing something over it. Right, so that's my friend from the vault. I actually forgot to look when I made it, so it's definitely within the last 10 years, because, well, less than that, because I tried it on a Skein Sisters, and I'm trying to think how long they've been open. Maybe 2016. Anyway, I'll put down here when I actually made it. And yeah, I thought about making another one, but just haven't got around to it. But yeah, I really like it. And I like the yarn. It's really nice and soft, and definitely next to skin soft. It's lovely. So I'm going to get into my works in progress, but I will get changed because I want to be able to try them on over something. So my first work in progress is the Clover Tea Solo by Lene, Holme, Samsoe, and I'm knitting it out of Cascade Ultra Pima in the color Buff. And this has been in my stash for, I think, maybe 11 years. So yeah, it's nice to be able to get it out of stash and start using it. It's a really lovely 100% cotton yarn, and yeah, it's really nice and easy to work with, and it actually hasn't been bothering my hands. So the pattern has you start with a 3mm for the ribbing and then a 4mm for the body. I did Judy's Magic cast on for a tubular cast on, and I did that on a 3.25mm needle, because that can be quite a firm tubular start for the tubular cast on. And then I did the first round, and then when I switched it to Knits and Pearls, that's when I actually moved to a 3mm needle. So it's got a reasonably high neckline. It's got quite a small number of stitches for the cast on, and I am making the smallest size. And then I'm actually using a 3.75mm needle instead of a 4mm, just because I like the fabric a little bit better on that. The thing that has just sort of, I've done one extra, so you've got this yoke, it's sort of yoke increases built into the these Clover, I guess, little designs. And there are short rows at the back, so, and that's built into the design. There's German short rows. And they come actually quite a fair way around. They've got 4 pairs of short rows, and they come all the way sort of to about here, and they're German short rows. And yeah, I really have enjoyed knitting this. The only thing that has really, I guess, caused me to pause is, so I did, one thing I'll just say is the only thing I've done differently in the pattern, aside from knitting the smaller sizes, I've done one extra raglan increase, because I had a feeling that maybe my gauge is a little bit tighter, and also the arm size seemed a little bit, so I've just knitted off onto two long circular needles, because the extension cords are already on my other projects, or I would have popped it on that. So actually maybe I'll show you on this side. So that's where, let me see, that's where the sleeve would be. So it's not too bad for a top, like it's not too, and I have to cast on stitches under the arms, but sorry, it's sort of sitting a bit funny. The concern that I have is quite how low the design goes, and you can see that I've got it on over a camisole. Now I had planned for this to be a top, and I don't really want to wear a top underneath the top, even a camisole. Like if I was going to wear, like this is 100% cotton, I want to make it for, you know, like warmer weather, I would like to not have to wear a top or something underneath it. But because how low this goes, you can see like this is, you know, all of my bust here. So if I didn't have a top on, you would just see my bra. And these are quite substantial holes, you know, in the lace design. So it just comes down a really long way. So I've been debating whether, I mean, I guess it's not too bad. I think the thing that I'm just not so sure about is I don't really love how you see skin here and then T here. So I'd probably either have to wear a skin colored camisole, so it kind of all looks the same underneath. But again, I don't really love the whole, I'm wearing a top on top of a top. So I'm just pausing for a second to decide whether I want to actually turn it into a jumper, maybe like a, but then I don't know that the color or the design really, I had really had in mind for this to be a tee. So maybe, and I think I am ready. If it was going to be a jumper, I probably would make it a little bit bigger and extend a bit further. But for a tee, this is probably when I would split now. So that's where I'm kind of like, am I going to make it a tee and maybe just wear a nude camisole, like a skin colored camisole underneath? And yeah, and then maybe just not wear it in the height of summer. And I probably wouldn't wear it in the height of summer because this is a DK weight cotton. So yeah, I'm curious to hear what people's thoughts are. Do you think it would be nice as because if I did it as a jumper, I would make it long sleeve. And I have plenty of yarn. I actually have 6 balls of this, so like tons of it. But it was like really addictive knitting. I think I only cast this on Wednesday maybe, and I was working all day last week, like 8 to 4 sort of thing. So this has only just been what I've been doing in the evening since Wednesday, and it's Sunday now. So yeah, like what hasn't been, one nice thing is it hasn't been hurting my hands. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. At the moment I'm leaning towards, before when I tried it on and I was like, oh, look how far all that lace goes, I was thinking, nah, got to turn it into a jumper, just have to. And then now I'm kind of thinking, oh, actually it might be all right. It might actually be okay if I, but not white camisole, because I think that's the thing I don't like particularly much, that sort of, especially if you've got like half on white, half on skin, it just kind of, for me, it messes with the design a little bit. Like I'd like it to just look like one thing underneath. Anyway, so let me see, was there anything else I was going to say? So yeah, I'm on 3.75mm needles, and yeah, as I wear it now, I don't think I would wear it as a jumper. I can't see myself reaching for it. Whereas maybe as a top over, which means I probably have to go get one, but that's all right. I'm on holidays now, so I have a bit of time to go shopping, or I could buy that online, I suppose. Yes, I can't remember what the smallest size was, so I'll put that down below, but I have a feeling my gauge is a bit tighter anyway, so it'll probably be pretty close to no ease, which for me is 32 inches. But when I do break it off, I think I have to cast on 6 stitches under the arms. So yep, so that's my first new work in progress. My second new work in progress is just another Musselburgh hat. So I cast it on because I just needed something small and portable for walking, or yeah, just something that didn't have any, you know, bits where I need to pay attention or increases or anything. So once you get past the increases on a Musselburgh hat, it's just round and round and round. So this is the Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. This is Madelinetosh Tosh Merino Light in the colourway Neon Peach. And I actually made one with this yarn before but gave it away. And I'm going to make a second one because I actually really liked it. So I'll make half of it in Neon Peach and the other half in Antler. I'm not sure where my standard Antler is, but I'll find it. And but I obviously don't need to find it for a while because I'll do half this and then I'll switch, when I'm about halfway, I'll switch to the other one. So they're my 2 new works in progress. And let me see, I actually have made quite a fair bit of progress on my other whips, so I'll just grab them now. Last week I cast on the Champagne cardigan, and I'd only just started it, I think, last podcast, which was about 10 days ago. And I've made quite a lot of progress on this, and I've split so it's the Champagne cardigan by Petite, and I'm using this very old stash Shepherd Supreme in these tiny little 25-gram balls, which is a DK weight, and then Knit Picks Aloft in the colourway Oat. And I'm getting 18 stitches and 24 rows, and so my row gauge is larger because the pattern's 18 stitches and 28 rows. So I ended up, along this raglan, I ended up only increasing every, sorry, not along the, I did all of these increases as per normal, but for the neckline, instead of increasing every 8th row, I increased every 7th row, which meant I did some on the wrong side, which was fine. You can just do like a make one left or make one right purl on the wrong side. So I did that every 7th row. So what that does mean is I ended up doing a few less rows, which means I had a few less increases. So even though this looks very large, there's probably about 8 less stitches on the front and back and the sleeves. So, you know, but look how big that is. That's still really huge. And then later on, you come back and you do a double knit. So I haven't done a lot since breaking off, but yeah, like it's coming along pretty well. I'm trying to think, I'm using 4.5mm needles. And the other thing, oh yeah, that's one thing I was going to mention. When you're working on the raglan increases, you increase everywhere for a while, so the sleeves and the body, and then you get to a point where you only increase on the front and back and not on the sleeves, and that gets a little bit like, because for me, I tend to autopilot and I'm just like, oh, I'm on raglan increases. So I would get to this one and increase and then forget once I passed the marker that I wasn't supposed to increase on the other side. So what I did, actually I'll show you one. What I did was, you know, when you have raglan increases and you have 2 stitch markers on either side of the raglan stitch, and what that means is you can either increase with 1 stitch in between, but with this one, actually, I think you had 3 stitches in between. But what I did was, you can see I've got 2 orange ones here. What I did was I made everything that was a sleeve one, I made it a red stitch marker. So I would have had like orange if it was, or some, you know, other color, orange, yellow, green, didn't matter. But if it was for the front or the back, that one would be another color. And then the sleeve side was red. So if I saw a red marker, that meant I didn't increase. But so red for bad, red for stop, don't increase. So anyway, that was just one way that helped me, you know, stop from my autopilot. And, you know, because it is pretty normal when you're doing raglan increases to increase on either side. You do a make one right and then the raglan, then make one left. And if you're not thinking, you'll just make both of them and keep going. And the number of times I had to tink back, not too far, I didn't go like whole rows past, but I definitely had to like undo half a row quite a few times before I was like, okay, what is going to stop me from doing this? So stitch markers that were a different color was very helpful for that. So yep, the Champagne cardigan by Petite Knit. I'm looking forward to making more progress on this because I think it will be, you know, nice. I don't have a whole lot of oversized cardigans. I've started to make more oversized sweaters, pullovers, but not, I don't have too many oversized cardigans in my wardrobe. So yep, So that's had quite a lot of progress. I don't think I have anything to say about that now, except that I'm making my way straight down the body. Sleeves are pretty straightforward. I think I'll do, I'm not sure. Because I've got this yarn is in this massive ball because it was unwound from a previous project. Maybe when I get to the end of this ball, I might do the sleeves, because I find that helpful for me just in terms of having the sleeves done to work out if the length is long enough. Right, so I think I've got 3 more works in progress. I might just leave this on because it's a bit chilly. One of them is Charisma by Martin Storey, and this is this is the back that I made a while ago, and that's just on some on a cable with some stoppers from twice sheet sheet, just to stop them from coming off. So that's done, and I've just got to finish the front, and I've made quite a bit of progress on that. I have, let me see, I think I've got about 10 rows to go before I have to do the stop and do the neck shaping, which isn't too much, because I think it takes me about 8 minutes a row. So about an hour and a half left of knitting, and then I'm ready to do the I've got a shape for the neck and for the shoulders, and I'll be doing similar to what I did for the back. I'll be doing a short rows instead of a stair step bind off, and then after that I've got to put them together. And one of the things that I know, once I get these 10 rows done, I want to pause, and actually I'll need to map out with all of the because I'm altering the pattern, exactly what I'm going to do row by row with a little plan, and then I'll video that, because I videoed it for the back, and I'll do a video for the front as well, and then I'll do another video when I put it all together with a 3 needle bind off. So that's Charisma by Martin Storey, and the yarn that I'm using is Rowan Selects Patina, and that's the colorway Confetti. I think that's it for that. I'm knitting the 32 to 34 inch size. Yep, it's a 1-pager pattern, so there's not a lot of information, and it's very much do the other side, the same as you did the first side. So not a lot of, and no information around decreases or what kind or anything. But there is still, even after that, there's still a bit of work to do, because I have to come back and do the ribbing on the bottom and pick up stitches around the sleeves and do a cuff. So, but that's all right. I have made a bit of progress on that one. 2 more works in progress. Actually, one of them I may as well try it on now. This is Snow Wonder by Heidi Kirrmaier, and I'm using Rerum Natura attached by a ball in the colorway Ciel. So I actually put this, I can't remember if I'd already done this last week, but I actually did put it on extension cords. So I had one really long extension cord from Twice Sheet Sheep. So I put that, and I think I must have either not had a very good quality one the first time I used extension cords, because I was just like, not doing that again, because I couldn't, I think the thing came off and I lost some stitches. So anyway, the ones that I got from Twice Sheet Sheep were really good, and it was like super easy to put on. So yeah, I don't know whether maybe there is a different quality, and like they're not all created equal. Yep, so I've got this on a cable. So I finished all the bobbles a while ago, and then I realized I was going to run out of yarn. So I only have 1 ball and a teeny bit of a different dye lot left. And 1 ball is not enough to do the rest of the body and the sleeves, because I want full sleeves. So I ordered more yarn from the Knitting Loft, and they had the same, I mentioned this last podcast, they had the same dye lot and everything. And that is due to arrive on Tuesday. So it's Sunday now. So I haven't done any more progress on this, because I just was like, until I actually have it and see it. And yes, I mean, I'm sure it is, but you just kind of, what if it gets lost in the mail? But I've been able to track it, and I can see it's arrived in Australia. So I'm feeling more confident to actually pick up because I do have another whole ball. So I've got, like, I can make a lot more progress while I wait for the other one. But yeah, I'm just a bit nervous. Like, what if it isn't the right dye lot, or maybe, I don't know, I'm hopeless. Or maybe I typed in the number wrong or something. But yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I'm obviously not sure enough. So I worked on other stuff. But yes, as soon as that ball arrives, I will be making progress on and that should not, because the gauge on this is 19 stitches and 28 rows. That's pretty. It's quite a large gauge, so it shouldn't take too long to finish, and I'd really like to be able to finish it and start wearing it. The only thing that I was going to mention, oh yes, so I'm making the S2 size, sort of I was making a bit of a hybrid between S1 and S2, and it's coming out about 38 inches, so a bit of, for me, that's 6 inches of positive ease. And I love this design, it's so cute. You know, I mean, it's probably a bit, maybe some people might find it a bit naff, but I really like it. Yeah, and let me think, was there anything else I was going to say? This was from a different dye lot. This was the yarn that I used for my Manhattan hat, but I don't think you can tell. Like, obviously I could rip that out. Now that I've got more yarn coming in the same dye lot, I could rip that out and switch. But yeah, I don't think I need to. Yeah, it's fine. And I've already woven in the ends too, so another reason not to. And so my last work in progress, another one to try on, is the poppy tee. And this one is actually also on extension cords, and I did a video of putting this on the extension cords and blocking it. So I think, you know, I usually refer to it blocking it on the needles, but I guess it's not on the needles once it was on extension cords, but it's in progress. So I did a video on blocking it, and since then I've actually done both sleeves. Because I do find, so one of the reasons I blocked it midway was I wanted to see if it grew in length. And I didn't expect it to, like the mohair tends to sort of, so I should tell you what yarn I'm using. I am using Sanduscan Sunday and Tin Silk Mohair in the colorways 4008, both of them. And with the mohair, it's less likely to grow, and it really didn't grow too much. So because I had so much to work with, I did a very long measure, and I measured over 8 inches. It was 70 rows, so that's 35 rows per 4 inches. And then when I measured it after blocking over those 8 inches, it was 67, so 33.5 rows. So it only changed a tiny bit. So I don't think it's going to make a massive difference. Like this is about 6 inches down the body. Once I probably got about another 5 inches to do, and then the ribbing, something like that. So I don't think, like, I'll be able to, you know, try it on properly. And also because I've done the sleeves, so I may as well try it on quickly for you. It's such a pretty color. I just love this orangey red. And let me see. So the sleeves, I haven't blocked it since doing the sleeves. So I picked up, you'll probably be able to tell that there's a bit of quite a line here. I don't know if you can see that, a line sort of from here to here, because that's where I picked up and did the sleeves. And sometimes I go up a needle size for the sleeves. I didn't this time. I could have, but I think, yeah, I felt like they were pretty big anyway. And then when I block, even if the gauge is a bit different, which it probably is, that blocking should even that out a little bit. So I'll just, so these are 2 extension cords, and then I just tied knots in them. And yeah, like I think, just take my necklace out, I think. So this is I probably didn't give you all the information, Poppy Tee by Petite Knit. It's got a really lovely sort of shoulder construction. And yes, I've already picked up the stitches for the neckline and done that. And so by doing the sleeves, because sometimes if I hadn't done the sleeves, it can sort of hang a bit lower on the body. And I might think I'm done, and then I do the sleeves and it pulls it up a little bit. So that's why I usually like to get the sleeves done before I finish the body. Also, there's something for me about like finishing the body and then that's kind of it. So yeah, I was actually hoping to get this done before I recorded. And then I was like, actually, I just want to record and then I get it done when I get it done. Like, I don't really want to adjust my knitting around recording. Like, when I'm ready to record, whatever I've done is what I've done, and I'll share what I've done and what my plans are. So yeah, I think I might actually keep it on. There's a tiny, with this Tin Silk mohair, it's not as soft as some of the other mohairs that I have worked with, like the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair is really soft. This one's got a little bit of, the Tin Silk mohair's got a bit of prickle factor, but not too much. So, you know, it's pretty reasonable. So yes, and I think I'll just keep this on because it's comfortable and warm. Right, so I think that's it for, oh yeah, so I will be putting out a tutorial on, because I did video it. I videoed myself putting this on the extension cords, and then I will video myself again taking it off, because that's another step, obviously, making sure that I get it off off these cords and back onto the needles easily. So I think for me a big tip was really jamming it onto the needles, and it did help that my Chiaogu needles have quite a sharp tip, so just yeah, made it kind of easy to jam it on, and I was quite careful in how I got the stitches off and onto the cord so that I wasn't putting pressure on the connection. So anyway, you'll see that in the video when that comes out. Right, I think I'm up to acquisitions and plans. So I have 2 new patterns this week, and they were both gifted to me. One of them is Wool and Berries by Joji Locatelli, and Stephanie gifted that to me. So thank you so much, Stephanie, because I swatched for that using the Cardiff Cashmere, and I did actually block it, and I was getting 24 stitches over 4 inches, and now after blocking I'm getting 23. Now the pattern actually recommends 20.5, so I'm definitely, you know, a good 10% out. So I'll have to do a little bit of, the smallest size I think is about 35 or 36 inches, and I don't really need a huge amount of ease. I'd like that to be quite fitted, so maybe just knitting the smallest size with the tighter gauge, that might be all I need. But because it is a top-down sweater, I'll be able to try it on. So I have this cream color and this navy, and yeah, I'm really excited to start that. So that is an acquisition as a gift from Stephanie, and also an upcoming plan. So I just, yeah, really, and I am totally copying Lena Ram's version. So that's her username, Lena Ram. I think her name's Lena, but her username's Lena Ram. I'm copying her version. So, and this is just so delightfully soft. So that is a very much an upcoming plan. The other thing that other pattern that I was gifted was a Sabai top by Susanne Muller, who's Paula Strict, and that was a gift from Sue. So thank you so much, Sue. And Sue said she actually plans to make it herself and will do a knit along with me when I start. So I'll definitely let you know when I start it, which it won't be long. The only thing I have to figure out is the right yarn for that. So that would probably, it's a 20 stitch gauge pattern over 4 inches. And I would do the version, there's a version that's got a ribbed top and a version that's just got a rolled top, like just stockinette. And it doesn't look like it's rolling that much in her version, but when I see other people's versions, theirs seem to be rolling a lot, and maybe it just depends on the yarn you use, or how much you've blocked it or whatever. So I haven't got yarn for sure in mind for that top, and I would like to go and have a look at my wardrobe, because I think that would be a really good work top for me. But I want to take a look at my wardrobe and see what color, and I don't want to just use stash yarn to use stash yarn. Like, what's the point if I'm not going to wear it? So even if I pick a color from my stash that fits gauge but doesn't fit the design or doesn't fit my wardrobe, well, yeah, I'll be able to make it, but what am I going to wear it with, and where am I going to wear it? So I want to have a look at what like dress pants that I have, or skirts that could do with a top like that, and either find yarn in my stash for that or buy some. And it's, you know, it's like, I think Sandusgarn Lena would work, or Drop Spell, which I've never actually tried the Drop Spell, but I really like the Sandusgarn Lena. I made my Thea top out of that, and that was really nice. So yeah, so anyway, thank you, Sue, and I'm excited. I just got to figure out the right yarn, and if I don't have it in stash, buy some. Sorry if you can hear my dog eating his breakfast in the background. It is 1:30 in the afternoon, but anyway, he just eats throughout the day. Sorry, it's a bit noisy. Right, so that's, they're my acquisitions and plans, and obviously I'm going to get that yarn from the Knitting Loft in Canada. They were so nice, like for them to, you know, find the dye lot and send it to me. And then also I ordered another yarn, which I'll show when it arrives, and I ordered 4 balls, and then they said they actually only had it in two different dye lots, and they sent a photo and showed me. So I ended up picking a different color because I didn't want to have 2 different dye lots. But yes, I'll show you all of that when it arrives next video. I'm just going to pause and wait till my dog finishes breakfast. The one other plan that I have is to make the peacock tea as well. I mean, I have lots of plans actually. If you look at my queue, the top 10 in my queue, I think I've got like 40 in my queue, but the top 10 in my queue, I have yarn for everything. So they're all going to be made at some point, but just one that kind of, after making the Clover tea, and really enjoying working with the Cascade Ultra Pima and realizing how long it's been in stash, I think once I finish that top, I will, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to make it a top, I will use this red version for, it's quite a different red. It's very different, a much more a winey red, this one, for the peacock tea. And I think that will be really beautiful. One thing I thought was quite interesting was when I was reading the peacock tea pattern, I just assumed, because it's the same gauge, I thought, oh yeah, they'll have the same cast on number of stitches, but it actually is quite different. Like the peacock tea has about 10% less stitches, and it has German short rows into the ribbing to start with. So quite a few different things. And I felt like my Clover tea was actually pretty high up, and that might have been because of the cast on that I used. So if I do the same cast on, if I do Judy's Magic cast on, I wouldn't want this like any higher. So I would probably do the same as the Clover tea numbers and then switch to the peacock tea design, because you do increase eventually to the same stitch count, but in terms of the ribbing at the start, it's a smaller number, and I definitely don't want it any higher. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Just, you know, not all, I thought same designer, same gauge yarn, same style of top, but the peacock tea has a 10% less stitch cast on, at least for my size. But I would do the same as the Clover tea if I use that cast on. And the other thing I'd be very careful of is I might do less, because it's a lace pattern. I'll be very conscious of where that's, like with that Clover tea, I was just knitting away, having a great time, didn't pay any attention to the yoke depth, the size of the holes, where the lace was going to be. Was I going to be okay with that? Because I could have, where have I got it? I've just got it right here. I could have easily just dropped off the last 2 sections of lace and just done stockinette, right? And then it wouldn't have been like, you wouldn't have seen any of, like, because you would totally see my bra through these sections, which I definitely don't want. So I'm all right to see a camisole, but not my bra. And yep, so anyway, I want to be able to, if I make the peacock tea, I want to be able to wear it without, sorry, I'll try and make sure I don't roll my chair over my knitwear that's on the ground. Yes, I want to be able to wear that without having a camisole underneath if possible. So I want I think it's like a feather and fan look, or certainly the lace thing, I want it to finish above the cup. So what I would do is when I'll be trying that on as I go and almost certainly blocking it on the needles to check for growth and everything. So that's an upcoming plan, and I have the yarn. So, and I actually have 6 skeins of this, so I have loads. Yes, okay, so I'm up to what has caught my eye. So a few things actually. One is the Chrysler top by Pernille Larsen, and that is made out of Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, and it's, I watched on Knee Knits, she just finished one and she got it out of less than 2 balls of yarn. And I think she knit size 2, and I'd probably knit either size, probably just size 1. So it's got a 30 stitch gauge in a modified half twisted rib. And yeah, I mean, that's obviously, like, it just looks really pretty, really elegant. I would like to make that for sure. So that's caught my eye. One thing I was thinking about that was, so it's in the Knitting for Olive book, which you can buy on Kindle. In Australia, that's $25 Australian dollars on Kindle, or about $40 delivered for the hard copy. And I was just, or the pattern itself alone is like $11. So if you were going to make, listeners, so that's Australian, right, with GST and everything. So if I was going to make at least 2 patterns out of the book, it's worth getting the book, at least on Kindle anyway. And I think I would probably get the Kindle, because I got a new iPad with a pen and everything. And when I was making the Clover tea, I was, I took a screenshot of the lace design, and I was just highlighting as I finished a row, and that was really nice. It was nice to be able to do that. So I quite like the idea of having I guess I could take a photo of the book, but yeah, I can see, I love physical books. It's such a thing, and yet I really want to have less stuff lying around. And yeah, so I tend to be less likely to open my I have so many knitting books that I don't, and knitting magazines. Aside from when they first arrived in the mail, I never go and pick them up. But if they're always on my iPad, no matter where I am, I can open them up, right? And they don't take much space. So pretty sure I'm going to buy the Kindle version because I do want to make the Chrysler top, and I'm sure there's other things in the in that book that I'd like to make. So that's one thing that has caught my eye. Another thing that has caught my eye is the Milady's dress by Inês Oliveira, and that uses 5 skeins of knitting for olive pure silk again, and the gauge on that is 25 stitches over 4 inches. So I'd need, like for my size, 5 skeins, which isn't like a crazy amount, still a fair bit of knitting, but yeah, it just looks like a really beautiful dress. And apparently the pattern has a lot in terms of being able to make it for your size. And everyone who has knit it that I've heard has been really impressed with both the pattern and the dress itself and the end results. So yeah, so that's what's caught my eye, and it's definitely something that I think I would, I'm not sure when, probably not anytime soon because it's winter here in Australia, but yeah, sometime soon. The other thing that has caught my eye is the Prismatic Reflection Sweater or Summer Top by Michelle Frazetta, and she's Mishi Frazzy Knits. She actually has a knitting podcast, that's where I saw it, and she made a sweater version and then she also made a top version in Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino, and it's got this quite nice like mild, because she's holding Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino double, she's able to use one strand of the body colour with another strand of another colour, and it just sort of creates this really nice mild effect as you sort of, and it's got a really lovely cable design. So it looks really nice both in one colour and in the striped version in the cotton. So I just thought that was really pretty. So holding, I think it must have a 21 stitch gauge, which is about a DK weight. So either holding, like either using a DK weight yarn if you just want it in one colour, or 2 strands of the Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino to be able to do the whole mild effect. So yeah, that just caught my eye, and yeah, she has a really nice podcast as well. She has these really cute colourwork socks designs. I've never actually done colourwork socks, so yeah, that was just, that caught my eye as well. Actually, I'll put a picture of those as well up there. I don't plan to knit them anytime soon. I've just got so many other things that are higher up on the list of what I want to make. And also I guess I sort of think all those socks, all of this work into these socks that are like, especially colour work on your feet. Yeah, I actually throw my socks in the washing machine. So I don't put them in the dryer, but I do put them in the washing machine, and I just can't see myself doing that much work. But if you're into that, you might like those. So yeah, so that's one other thing that's caught my eye. 2 other things to share. The Umbria Summer Top by Cookie the Knitter, another Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, and that is 24 stitches gauge in garter rib. And I actually it was quite interesting because it's a top, but a button-up top, and I've never knit a full button-up summer top. And yeah, like with a little collar, just looks really cute. And something that, yeah, that I've just not knit anything like that before, and I've been knitting for a long time. So anyway, that caught my eye, and I thought, oh, that's really sweet. So so much Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. Yeah, that was like when I made my Cumulus tea out of that, it was a lot of work. Like, it's quite a fine gauge, a lot of knitting. My gauge really blew out on that. Like, my swatch was 28 stitches. It blew out to 24 stitches, but still the row gauge is quite small. It was like 40 rows. So definitely a lot of knitting. Yes, and I wouldn't want to have like 3 or 4 of Knitting for Olive Pure Silk tops or things on the needles all at the one time. So if I do make all of these things, I would stagger them. Yes, or sort of sequentially, not all at the same time, that's for sure. One last thing that's caught my eye, and that is the Mixed Rib Cami by Florence Miller. And she used Knitting for Olive, this is like the Knitting for Olive episode, Knitting for Olive Merino. And the gauge on that pattern is 30 stitches, but obviously in pattern, but obviously there's no sleeves, and so it's not necessarily going to take forever. I think if I was to make that top, I would use cotton merino rather than merino. I don't mind a wool top. Obviously this is a wool top with woolen mohair, but this is very much, I would be wearing this on a cool autumn day with long pants, whereas the Mixed Rib Cami being sleeveless and a very fine yarn, I probably wouldn't use 100% wool. I would probably use the Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino. And 30 stitch gauge in pattern, I'd probably be fine to get that with the cotton merino. So Yeah, but that one's caught my eye. But all of that is like sort of stuff that I'm like, don't have yarn in stash for that. Don't have yarn in stash for that. It's all knitting for Olive Pure Silk and Cotton Merino. So, oh well. It does mean though, when I sort of plan to make those things, it'll all be from the one shop. I just buy it from Knitting for Olive. I mean, we do have some local retailers, but if I was going to buy that much, and I probably would want, you know, a bunch of different colors, it would be nice to be able to buy it directly, and then I've just got my pick of the colors rather than just what any one particular store has in stock. Right, that was a lot. And I know I've been talking quickly, I think I've been talking quickly, but it's not because I'm stressed, it's just I'm excited. There's so many things that I'm excited about making, and yeah. Right, so just as a heads up, that's kind of it for the knitting content. I do think I'll be back to recording weekly now, and I'm not sure of the days. Like, I normally record on Wednesdays and upload them on Wednesday night, for me, Wednesday night, but while I'm on school holidays, it'll be weekly, but I'm not sure which day, right? Like, it's Sunday today. But then once I get back to school, I'll be back on my normal weekly schedule. But I will be recording weekly. I do have, once I get this back on the needles and record that and edit that, I will upload that as well. So I'll be back on, hopefully, I'd love to get back onto a weekly normal podcast and a weekly tutorial as well, as long as there's things that people are interested in tutorials for. Yeah, so that's it for the knitting content. If you are leaving now, thank you so much for being here. If you can like and subscribe, and yeah, just appreciate you spending your time with me. Just a little bit of personal stuff on the end. Oh my goodness, I finished my last massive commitment. So school broke up a week ago. I did a week-long holiday program at my school, which was mostly for the Year 12 students leading up to their trial exams. That went really well. It was 8 to 4 every day. Pretty much, I think a couple of days I left at 3:30, but generally it was 8 to 4. And it was good, tiring, but good. And I think it went really well for the students. And I really enjoyed it. But it was a lot of, it's a lot of work, even just particularly the lead up in preparing for it. The actually doing it was pretty good, but just a lot of work getting ready for it. Now I actually have 2 weeks holiday, and and one thing that I'm going to be really careful about now is I'm not going to let myself get overcommitted like that for such a long time. I don't think there's a big deal in having like a week or two here where you're busy, but from like the end of January until mid-July, to be every day when I came home, it would be like, right, I'll try and go for a walk, eat, make dinner, eat something, and then back to work, and stuff that had to be done for the next day, and then finishing work at like 9 o'clock at night, and just crashing, and then up again in the morning, teaching, because the 3 mornings a week I teach at 7 a.m. Yeah, it was just, and then teaching knitting at the yarn shop, and other commitments that I'd made for teaching to other maths teachers. And yeah, to just go that long, that many months, where every single night it was like, okay, what do I have to do ready for tomorrow? Like, it was too much. So I'm not going to get myself into that position again. And just, yeah, I'm being very careful now with what I commit to, but I'm just so delighted to be on a proper break now. My, not surprisingly, my arthritis symptoms have really eased now that my stress has eased, which is great. I'm still going to stay on the prednisone, and I'll wean off really slowly, but I'm just going to stay on 5 milligrams for a while until I see my rheumatologist. Yeah, so that's what I've got coming up. I'm going away with my husband on Tuesday night for like 3 nights, just down south to a town called Bowral, where we stay at a place where there's a fire, and I can knit and read and go for walks, and yeah, just really properly relax. So that will be lovely. Tomorrow I'm going to see a movie. So it's Monday. Tomorrow I'm going to go see a movie with my mum. There's a movie theatre called the Randwick Ritz here in Sydney, where they show old movies pretty regularly. They're called cult classics. And so we're going to go see a movie called Ninochka with Greta Garbo. I love old movies, and I have since I was little. I used to watch them with my grandma and with my mum, and yeah, and I watched a lot of them by myself. But my mum likes them, and actually, she told me when I was little that well, before I was born, when she was trying to decide on my name, she was going to call me Nanochka because she saw this movie with Greta Garbo and really liked it. So I've not seen this movie. I'm kind of glad I didn't get named Nanochka. I like Natasha. Anyway, we're going to go see it. I haven't seen it, and so we're going to see that together tomorrow. My brother's in town. I had dinner with him and the family last night. He lives in Kirrmaier, which is like a really, it's about 4 hour, no more, maybe 5 hour drive on the way down to the Snowy Mountains. So he is up just for the weekend. He's going to see, I'm not going, but my brother and my husband are going to see Tenacious D tonight. Yeah, like I'm really looking forward to hearing all about that because I think that will be quite a fun event. So yeah, just had dinner with him last night. Just being able to spend time with the family has been, yeah, really, and just not always having that pressure of like, oh, okay, I've got to do, like after we have dinner, right, I'm back to work. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And I think I joined the Randwick Ritz, like became a member there. So I'd like to start seeing more of those movies. And I think I might even try and see if there's a streaming service that has old movies on it. I love even old movies back to the 20s, like with Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert and Jimmy Stewart and all the Hitchcock movies. And yeah, I love them. So, and I've seen a lot, but there's probably quite a few that I haven't. So, and look, I'd watch them again too. So that's kind of it for what's been happening. I did watch a movie with my son this week. He's reading The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, I can't remember. Nigel or Nathaniel? Nathaniel, I think. I think Nigel Hawthorne might be an actor or... Anyway, he's reading The Scarlet Letter and we watched Easy A together. It was a very different kind of movie. It's very much a teenage rom-com, but it was fun watching it with him. And yeah, it's just so nice to have a little bit of free time now to be able to do stuff. So obviously the knitting plans like are exploding and I want to sew and weave and everything. But that's all right, you know, one thing at a time. I have 6 works in progress. So I'm going to try and, you know, I want to finish this first, actually. I think that's get this back on the needles, finish it. Yeah, I might do that before I cast on anything new. Right, I think that's enough for now. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I'll be back next week. See you then.